let's talk about MPP. Let's talk about the People's Party. So this morning is a monumental day in the history of our coverage of the People's Party, because for the first time in the 5-year history of MPP, Nick Brana sat down for an actual interview, not a softball interview as was administered to him by Jimmy Dore the other day. We can watch some of that too if you guys want. But no, a real interview from a real journalist who was willing to ask him tough questions and try to hold him accountable. This is what happened. Let's watch it now. This did not go as I expected, needless to say. I knew Jordan would be defensive for sure. I knew he would maybe be a little bit annoyed at Jordan and maybe bring up a few, facts about Jordan's own past. I was not expecting this to go off the rails in the way it was. This was one of the most unhinged performances in an interview I have ever seen in any context. The level of unprofessionality displayed here was truly dumbfounding. But without further ado, we can take a look at this unless you wanted to preface it with anything, Zach.
All I have to say is that, man, I was excited for this, man. Shout out to Jordan Chariton for getting this done. I would have been annoyed with the way that this went down. I would have been really pissed off, actually. So just shout out to Jordan for holding it down, being professional, trying to get this done. All these kinds of things. You guys should really read his reporting. His written journalism on this is really thorough. Everybody's like, this is all hearsay and there's no actual legitimate accusation. Jordan Chariton is a real fucking journalist. Okay, guys, he compiled all of his information before he came out and said any of this stuff. So you can check it all out there. Nick Brana then proceeds to be like 10, 12, 13 minutes late to this interview. And when he comes in, boy, howdy, was it quick for the fireworks to begin, guys. It doesn't seem to me he wasn't behaving like a guy with innocent conscience. But hey, what am I to know? That's just hearsay. That is hearsay.
Yeah, to me, he was behaving like a coked out lunatic. But again, I'll let the chat decide. Yeah. And also, again, as you mentioned, Nick was like 15 minutes late to this interview. Jordan spent the first 15 minutes of this interview reading out Nick's statement in full, his long ass statement in full, which was talking about how like a woke faction of liberals are trying to take over the People's Party. LOL. Anyway, he read Nick's statement in full without rebutting any of it. So he literally did his due diligence as a journalist. He's only referred to the allegations as such as allegations. He's never once said this has been proven necessarily. He's just been reporting on it. That's what he's supposed to do as a journalist. Anyway, without further ado, let's take a look at what happened here. This is unhinged, truly just deranged, guys.
So that is Nick Brana's full statement. There you are. Hey, Nick.
Hi, Jordan.
I planned on reading the statement with you while you were here, but that's okay that you were a few minutes late. So Nick Brana, National Chair of the People's Party, joining me. Obviously, I've done some reporting with Status Coup on you this week, so I'm glad you could join me to discuss all of this. I read your full statement, so if people didn't read the statement, now you know what Nick wrote on, what was that, Wednesday, a couple days ago. So I want to start with just kind of a couple baselines here. Can you confirm that an internal investigation at MPP was launched in December after a subordinate that you said you have said you're in were in a relationship with had made an allegation?
This is a part of a much wider and longer standing campaign to reorient the party.
That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking you, can you confirm that
there was? And okay. I'd like to begin, Jordan, as well, by saying, can you confirm the conflicts of interest that you've had in covering this story that you haven't so far?
So, Nick,
the fact that you are a personal friend of the accuser.
So, Nick, you're not going to filibuster. So if you're not if you're not going to answer the questions, Jordan, and you're going to try to deflect,
are you a personal friend of the accuser or not?
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. That is a lie. That is a lie. Jordan, have you been accused of your own allegation that was false?
Nick, are you going to deflect? That you're going to answer questions?
I am asking you.
No, Nick, you're not the journalist. I'm a journalist.
Reported your conflicts of interest.
I'm not a friend with the accuser, and you're trying to deflect. So Jordan, if you're going, excuse me, I am no. This is not your show. This is not your show. So if you're going to try and if you're going to deflect
right now about being a personal friend of the accuser,
I'm not a personal
You're
friend
not
of the
disclosing
accuser.
your
I have
relationship
literally
with
met
the
your.
accuser.
I have literally met
False.
the woman who accused you twice in my life.
False.
One was at an
That's
event.
not what
You
she
guys.
says.
All right, so just to pause real quick, we'll listen to all of this, but I just want to start addressing some stuff real quick. First of all, Jordan's clearly just trying to do his job as a journalist here. He's not trying to set up Nick. He's not trying to smear Nick. In fact, he's doing what a journalist should do by having him on to ask him these questions. If anything, he's giving Nick an excuse to calmly, reasonably explain his side of the story. Again, Nick should be thanking him for this opportunity. He's simply doing his job as a journalist. Instead, right off the bat, one question in, he can't even answer it. Immediately pivots to this childish response of, "Oh, not me, you, bro. Not me, more you." Absolute insanity. And again, once again, this man is just smearing someone with no evidence, saying, "Oh, well, you're personal good friends of my accuser." Jordan's like, "Actually, I'm not. I've met her like twice." And Nick's like, "No, you're personal friends of it." You have to bring some evidence for that, bro. For the 100th time. You're smearing someone without evidence. Where is your evidence for this? You can't just say things.
In the next 18 to 45 months, they are going to release a bombshell from the People's Party showing everybody is CIA. Every single person on... Like, I mean, I'm sorry. There's some delusional people in our chat right now. You guys can find yourself to the fucking door. If you think that Jimmy Dore is a journalist and not Jordan Chariton, please unsubscribe from the Vanguard. I can't look at your dumb fucking messages anymore. That being said, that's my one thing. That was my public service announcement. I'm not... Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, anybody who is guilty, seeming or not guilty, rather, let's start with that. Anybody who is not guilty of something and they're accused of it, usually they're pretty happy to this is what happened on this day. This is what happened. It's meticulous. It's like, I want to scream on every show that this is fucking bananas. Not immediately obfuscate, blow it up, try and make it look like Jordan is somehow projecting and trying to smear you. And it's so ridiculous because it's the same fucking playbook every single time. Like now, Jordan Chariton is a Democratic. It wasn't just Paula Jean Swearingen who joined the party well after a lot of these accusations had been made publicly by places like the Vanguard. Where long after we'd interviewed the first round of people who had massive issues with how things were going inside the People's Party. Then Paula Jean Swearingen left, so she's an asset. Now Jordan Chariton is critical of you, so he's an asset. And still not a single piece of evidence. So really just extremely revealing when Jordan Chariton can write a Substack piece that's, you know, pages and pages long, filled with documents, filled with, photocopies of conversation, signatures, detailed transcriptions of events. There's nothing like that present for Nick Brana. Why hasn't he tweeted all of that shit out? Where's the documentation that Jordan Chariton is good friends with his accuser? Where? He's a fucking journalist that drives coast to coast across this country talking to people. Yeah, he may have met her once or fucking twice if they're in a leftist fucking niche. Okay, that doesn't mean he's best friends with her, right? There are people that I know and met twice. I don't even fucking remember what they look like. Okay? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's so obvious that he's obfuscating, but he digs his own fucking grave. We can keep playing.
Right. And Jordan hasn't been smearing the People's Party, or he hasn't been covering them in a negative light at all. Jordan was on board with the People's Party. I remember him having Nick Brana on his show multiple times to ask him, you know, serious question about the goals of the People's Party, about how they were planning to accomplish these goals. It's not like Jordan's been anti-MPP from day one. No, like us, he was in support of the group until information came to light, damning information that exposed the incredible amount of dysfunction, if not straight up abuse, going on behind the scenes of this organization, which continues to solicit donations, by the way, from Jimmy Dore's audience when he refuses to give him a hardball interview. How disgusting is that? But anyway, let's watch some more of this. I know you guys really want to hear this go down.
That's not what she says?
Correct.
Okay. So are you going actually to answer my questions, or you're just going to try and deflect?
I will. I just want your viewership and you to disclose the conflicts of interest that you have
Nick,
in this
I have no
story.
conflicts of
Jordan
interest.
brings the
None.
spice.
And perhaps why
Do you have evidence of my excuse me? Do you have evidence of conflicts of interest?
What she told me. Correct.
When did she tell you this?
She told me this in the fall of this year and in the summer of last year.
Also, isn't this the person you're saying is dishonest and a liar and smearing you? Oh, but she said this about you, so therefore it's evidence. This is the person you're actively trying to discredit, and you're using her quotes as evidence against Jordan Chariton. So when it benefits you, she's not a liar, but when it is not a good look, she is a liar.
The fall of last year and the summer of last year.
Through writing, through smoke signal? How did she tell you this?
She told it to me in numerous conversations.
Okay. Okay. So I get your playbook. So can I start?
No.
Can I start asking
That's
questions?
a rather
or no?
material part of this.
Can I start asking questions or no?
It is.
Okay. Because this isn't Jimmy's show, so there will be no softballs.
Have you disclosed that you've attacked us previously?
Somebody read the
People's
Vanguard.
Party and me in particular.
How so?
That you wrote an article that stated that I was not a part of our revolution, that I was in fact not employed at our revolution. Are you?
What the fuck does this have to do with anything, by the way?
I've read a lot of articles. You'd have to gin up my memory. Seriously.
I think you know exactly which one I'm talking about.
Hey, Nick, can you confirm that I covered
I have a W-2s at our revolution, and yet you said I wasn't employed there. This isn't your first time attacking the People's Party, Jordan.
Nick, I'll end the interview. I'll end the interview if you're not going to answer any questions and just read.
That's up to you. I just want your viewers.
Are you going to answer a question? Are you going to answer any questions or not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
I'm happy to, because there's nothing here in the investigation cleared me.
No, based on the record sources, including people who were investigating you.
Have you talked to the two investigators at the beginning who submitted their conclusions? No, you have not. You should probably reach out to them. I'll put you in touch with them.
Okay. Nick, I'm going to have to start muting you if you're not going to let me ask questions.
Of course. Just making your viewers aware.
Okay. So now that my viewers are aware that Nick Brana says I'm friends with his accuser and that I hit the People's Party, even though I've covered multiple People's Party events in person, conferences, we've established that. Okay.
Is it true that you reported that I was a part of our revolution or not?
I don't know what you're talking about, Nick. And stop deflecting. I'm not playing your game. And I know you've been lawyered up to say this shit. It ain't going to work. So I'm going to start answering my questions, asking questions.
I hope you will.
If you don't want to answer, we'll go from there. So
yeah, I hope you will.
Nick, in your statement, you
By the way, even if Nick was innocent here, and he's not, even if he was, this is just a piss poor way to handle an interview. The most unprofessional possible way to handle an interview as the head of an organization, a head of a political party, which solicits donations from working class people like myself and you guys watching. People deserve some answers, right? Like, people have been donating to your fucking ass for 5 years, hoping to get some results, hoping to break the duopoly, sincerely thinking this was worth investing in. You owe people some answers, dude. You don't just get to melt down like a child and point your finger and say, did you write an article accusing me of being in our revolution? Like, no, people deserve an answer. Like, even if you're 100% innocent, dude, which again, he's not, even if he was, people deserve to hear you explain what happened in reasonable, calm terms, lay out what's going on. No one wants to sit here and watch you go, and throw a fucking tantrum because a serious journalist that's not Jimmy Dore, who's obviously not even a journalist at all, is asking you questions and doing his fucking job. This has nothing to do with the fact that Jordan Chariton was accused of sexual harassment when he worked at TYT. This has nothing to do with some random article that he wrote like 5 years ago about our revolution. This has to do with the allegations that have been leveled against Nick Brana, not just the sexual harassment allegation, but going all the way back to a year now when this man, without evidence, with no proof whatsoever, smeared working class volunteers and petitioners of the People's Party of also being infiltrators. Every time someone levels a complaint against the People's Party, every time someone brings up a grievance against the People's Party or tries to expose the dysfunction going on behind the scenes, this man has called them an infiltrator, has called them a bad faith actor or an asset of the Democratic Party. Every single time, going back a year now, far before any allegations of sexual harassment ever emerged, this guy's tactic has been to smear his volunteers, the people that have spent their goddamn time and money working to try to build his joke of a party. His response is to smear them as infiltrators with no evidence. That is disgusting. For one, these are good faith people that are trying to smash the duopoly, that want MPP to succeed. And as soon as they come forward with any complaint against him, he is labeling them as an infiltrator or an asset of the Democratic Party with no evidence. So again, this doesn't even just have to do with the sexual harassment allegation. This starts way before then. And again, Jordan's just doing his job, trying to hold you accountable, trying to get some actual answers and explanations as to what's going on, something that Nick Brana has never taken the time to do. He has never taken tough questions on an interview before today, and now we get to see how he acts when confronted with actual journalism.
Yeah, taking it like a champ too, as you can see, Gavin. But yeah, I mean, it's fucking embarrassing. He's like, from this point forward, when I think of the word Malding, I'm just gonna picture Nick Brana in this interview, just completely just not able to handle any kind of pressure at all, without freaking out, obfuscating. And yeah, you made a great point, Gavin. This isn't just about the sexual harassment allegations. I don't know if that's accurate. What I do know is accurate is the fact that he fucking lied multiple times about the working class individuals that were initially announcing their grievances within his party. We had them on our show. We followed up with them. We've seen the fact that no fucking candidates, not a single fucking candidate has been fielded, which we've been saying for months now would not happen. I can also say that he undemocratically booted board members from the board of directors and what he calls a de-neoliberalification of it. That just sounds fucking bullshit. That just sounds like you're a crazy person and people wanted you to stop being a crazy person and you needed to tell yourself some kind of warped fucking story about them. And to whoever is left of your fucking increasingly sycophantic and deranged following, okay, because you have to be to delude yourself into thinking that this guy is a serious fucking, earth mover, right? Party builder, essentially, right? Like, you can't conduct yourself in a worse way. Anybody who's honest about themselves will tell you, even if they support every single fucking stated goal of the People's Party, I probably support like 90% of those fucking stated goals, okay? And I will tell you that this looks fucking terrible, and I think almost every honest person with eyes and ears that work properly would come to the same conclusion.
100%. And thanks for the super chat, Mags. This interview is as functional as the party. 100%. And again, I'll just reiterate one more time. Nick, the people that have donated to your party, given them your money and their time, they deserve to hear what's going on from you. They deserve to hear. These are people that are seriously devoted to your goal. They have given you their time and money. They don't want to hear you throw a tinter tantrum and point fingers at Jordan Chariton, at the guy that's just trying to get some information out of you. The people deserve to hear from you what's going on. Why is this so hard for you to understand? You are the head of an organization. You are essentially the CEO of this party. What do you think's going to happen when you're accused of shit? What do you think's going to happen when people come out and start exposing the dysfunction behind the scenes and the abuse behind the scenes? Of course, you have to explain what's going on. That's what every political leader or organization leader has ever had to do, ever. This is not some new standard of accountability that's been invented for you and your dumbass party, bro. Take some goddamn responsibility and stop being such an unprofessional little whiny fucking piece of garbage. But anyway, let's watch the rest of this because it gets even worse, if you can believe it.
That, let me get the statement here. In your statement, you said, quote, when she made these serious accusations, the board acted immediately and appointed a committee of 3 board members to investigate. After taking written statements, interviewing both of us separately, and examining evidence, the committee concluded that the allegations did not have merit and were a politically motivated attempt to remove me. They discovered that 2 board members who had confided to others that they had long sought to remove me and take my position had orchestrated the allegation with the accuser and contractor. So in your statement, you said that there was 3 board members who were part of a special committee investigating you. I have two board members, as well as another source, saying that later on, a 4th person was added to the special investigative committee, Todd Jellin. So why does your statement say there was 3 people investigating you when there was 4?
Because you said it originally. There were 3 to begin with. Have you talked to the other 2?
Excuse me. I, in my reporting, said a 4th was added later. So why does your statement say that there was only 3 MPP board members?
There were 3 originally. The investigation concluded, and the partial board.
Nick, wait.
Hold on. You want an answer, or you don't want an answer?
You're not answering. You're not answering.
No, yes, I am. You just don't like the answer.
Your public statement said there was 3 board members investigating.
Correct.
Was there a 4th later added?
I was just answering your question. You want the answer or not?
Go ahead.
Excellent. There was a 4th added after it had already submitted its conclusions. And the reason that 4th was added was for the broader politically motivated attempt to replace me, shift the party's message from populism to liberalism, and oppose the party taking a stance on COVID vaccine mandates, opposing them.
So if if the three of those members had already reached the conclusion, then why did you not provide that to me when I asked questions? Why did you not provide any evidence that a conclusion had already been presented, and that those three board members?
It's in my statement. The other members would be happy. You haven't reached out to them. In fact, you never asked me to get in touch with them.
You issued a statement. A statement isn't evidence. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Did you ask them?
A statement is not evidence.
To speak with them.
I'm asking
to speak with. Did you ask?
Why would I ask to speak with other board members when there's already multiple board members on the record saying? I'll just read their comments. Colin, if we could go to the first tweet. Regina Clark, one of the board members that was removed. She says that statement was not true. In our special investigative committee meetings, all three original members stated that we believed the accuser. When the three of us then discussed it with the rest of the partial board, the full board is 10. The partial board was minus you and your father, because obviously you couldn't be in meetings when an investigation into you was discussed. The partial board agreed that actions needed to be taken based on our findings of sexual harassment over Title VII. Later, a fourth person was added to the investigative committee over concerns about the integrity of two members of the committee and their communication with Nick Brana. Then you have Thomas Royko, another board member. To be clear, he was not part of the committee investigating you, but he was part of meetings in which the investigation was discussed. He says,
by the way, Thomas Royko was like a hardcore MPP defender. Like, he's been on board since the beginning. He's been one of these guys that's, in fact, smeared other ex-volunteers of being assets and has gotten testy with them in the past. So this is not some fucking DNC infiltrator. Basically, they just kicked out everyone that disagreed with them on vaccine mandates and are now trying to act like it's a politically motivated infiltration by the DNC with no evidence. Once again, accusing these people with no evidence of being politically motivated, when it appears that it was just legitimately an inter-party debate over this policy, and because it didn't go the way that Nick and his father wanted it to, they were all purged and are now being smeared as infiltrators. And that's not even really getting into the allegations of sexual harassment. Again, this goes much, much beyond that. This has been going on for much, much before that. Anyway.
Yeah,
I'm not done reading the quote.
Along with Todd Jelen.
Yeah, I'm not done reading the quote. Quote, that's not true. Flat out lie as far as I was aware.
The context that you have a habit of not adding.
Okay. Quote, that's not true. Flat out lie as far as I was aware. Royko said the statements that he is making is riddled with lies. So there's either they're lying or you're lying, because you're saying the investigative committee already reached a conclusion that there was no merit in the woman's accusation and that it was politically motivated. But you have a member of the special investigative committee saying that's not true, that they did have findings. And we also have a document, Nick, and let's go, Colin, if we could go further down to the February 19th emergency meeting petition, if you'll allow me to read this. This was sent on February 19th, which was Saturday. So 6 or 7 days ago. It's signed by 5 board members. The title is Emergency Meeting of the Partial Board of Directors National Coordinator Circle. And they, in this, pursuant to Section 9 of the Interim Operating Procedure of the People's Party, also known as Movement for a People's Party, a Michigan nonprofit corporation, the undersigned members of the Board of Directors of People's Party, also known as the National Coordinator Circle, and hereon referred to as the Board of Directors, representing at least 40% of all members of the board of directors, hereby petition the partial board, minus Nick and Rod, Chair Michelle Ramirez, to convene an emergency meeting of the partial board of directors, minus Nick and Rod, to occur within 24 hours from the partial board chair's receipt of this petition for the limited purpose of reviewing and discussing the recommendations of the special committee investigation into allegations of sexual harassment, improper behavior, and subsequent retaliation by the board chair, Nick Brana. That was Saturday. So how is it that an investigate
that I described?
Wait, I'm not done asking. How is it that there was already a conclusion drawn that there was no merit of the entire 4-person special investigative committee if on Saturday, 5 board members, 2 of them who were part of that special investigative committee, were asking for an emergency next day meeting to make recommendations? You're saying they already concluded there was no merit, they're talking about recommendations to discuss. That doesn't make sense.
They had concluded. And then Jordan, you just read my statement. The answer is in the statement. They politically.
Nick, your statement is not evidence. A statement is not, excuse me. A statement is not evidence, Nick.
Oh.
A statement is not evidence.
A statement making accusations against me of sexual harassment is not evidence either. So, Jordan, let me ask you, where is the evidence?
Excuse me.
Where is the evidence?
Nick, no, you're not going to do that.
No, I'm answering.
I have not reported.
I have not reported. Where is the
excuse
evidence?
me. I have not reported that you, Nick Brana, have sexually harassed anyone.
Did they provide you with evidence?
Excuse me. That you, Nick Brana, have sexually done anything to anyone. I have, to be clear to the audience, because I did not report details and I did not report whether it's true, whether it's not.
You never will, because they don't exist.
Okay, but Nick,
isn't that at the heart of the matter, Jordan?
I don't know. I have no idea. That's why I didn't report it.
You're the journalist.
I report,
right?
Okay, Nick, I don't know if you realize this because you're not a journalist. If you're going to do a serious investigation into sexual harassment or more, you don't do it in 3 days. So what I reported, which you've confirmed, is you were under internal investigation. That's what I reported. And what I'm reporting now is there seem to be inconsistencies with the process for the removal of board members. I have not reported that you have sexually harassed. In every instance, the word alleged has been used. So you could keep on going on that, this is a liberal woke mob attack on you. But nowhere in my reporting has there been anything, specific allegations, or that you are guilty. So if that's what this is about.
Important? Isn't that what's important?
I think it's fairly important as a news. I think it's fairly important. I think it's fairly important as a news story that you're under investigation and that 5 board members were removed abruptly the same exact day that they called for that emergency.
So where's the evidence?
The same exact day. The same exact day.
You don't.
No,
okay.
Nick, you're not asking. You're not asking.
You don't want to exactly.
You're not asking.
You don't want to answer the questions.
The same
you don't want to
exact.
Answer the questions.
The same.
This
Nick,
is hilarious coming
Nick,
from
let
you.
me ask you.
This is frankly
Nick,
hilarious.
Nick,
you were fired from TYT over having your own affair, which you claim you were accused of rape, and you were fired for that. This is unbelievable. I can't let you.
Now you're trying. Now you're trying to spin and deflect
with less credibility to report this. But I suppose your personal friendship with the accuser explains that.
You know what, Nick?
Is this your effort to regain credibility or cachet with the establishment, Jordan?
You know what, Nick?
With Ryan Grimm, are you still seeking that job with The Intercept? Is that why he keeps retweeting everything that you've posted?
That's fucking embarrassing. This is fucking embarrassing. He's just trying to give fodder to the most fucking deranged, sycophantic followers of Jimmy Dore so that Jimmy will continue to stick up for him. It's fucking pathetic, but that's what's happening.
And
you know what,
who works for DNC-aligned and billionaire-funded media, Jordan. Those are the people that you're in league with.
I'll be attacked for this, but I don't really give a damn. I'm ending the interview because this isn't going anywhere.
And he had every right to do that, in my opinion. That was totally unhinged, totally deranged from Nick Brana, who, again, even if he's innocent, handled that in the worst possible way you could ever imagine. Again, these are serious accusations being leveled against you, dude. You at least owe people an explanation as to what actually happened, and not just melting down, pointing fingers, talking over the reporter who's doing their best to hold you accountable. Like, Nick, do you not think that the same, standard of accountability applies to you as it does anyone else in the political or, activist realm? Like if any other head of any other political organization had these accusations leveled against them, not just the sexual harassment, but of all the abuse and dysfunction behind the scenes, obviously that person's going to have to explain what happened. Obviously that person's going to have to answer for it and take some tough questions and reasonably explain to their followers, to their fan base, whatever you want to call it, what has happened. Of course, that's what you do. Like, you can't just melt down, act like a child, start screaming at Jordan. Well, you were accused too. Like, bro, that's not the point. You're missing the fucking point. There are people out there that have donated their time and money to your grift of an organization which has yet to produce any results, not a single candidate slated to run after 5 years of existence. Do you not think that these people are owed an explanation? Do you think they're just going to buy your bullshit every time this happens? Oh, this was infiltration. They're an infiltrator. And also Jordan's an infiltrator. Everyone's an infiltrator.
Paula Jean Swearingen, Ryan.
Paula Jean Swearingen is an infiltrator. Everyone is an infiltrator, according to this fucking snake, this fucking clown. God, what an embarrassment to the third party movement, man. What a fucking terrible look this is.
Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing. And let's just go ahead for all the slow folks in the chat. There was nothing with evidence has ever been brought against Nick Brana. Okay, on the same fucking day that the fucking Special Investigation Committee, if you've ever done anything in the corporate world, you understand this is how fucking things go. And even if you haven't, you probably worked a fucking job where you had to behave yourself. And if you didn't, you would get in fucking trouble. Okay, so they have a Special Investigation Committee from the board of the MPP, right? They investigate it. They find, oh yeah, there was some reason to believe that we need to dole out a punishment. We can't have him working one-on-one with this person, yada, yada, yada. Still handling it internally. Fine. That's worth reporting on. That's where we're at right now. Okay, great. Then Nick Brana says, fuck all of you that said that I should have any kind of accountability. You're all off of the fucking board of directors. And oh yeah, it's me and my dad and 3 people who will let us tell them whatever the fuck we want to do now. That's great. That's real trustworthy. And in the most Trumpian way possible, when Jimmy Dore asks him, like, you know, a lot of people are like, why is your dad dealing with the financing? Because my dad's the only one I can trust. Yeah, that sounds like nepotism. So that's fucking ridiculous to me. And those are the same people that wanted to melt down about Hunter Biden. And I was upset about Hunter Biden too. But like, let's have some logical consistencies here, guys. You know. And also, I hear a lot of pushback, like, oh, if they didn't want to de-wokeify, or if they didn't want to wokeify the party, that's Nick Brana's decision. I thought this was a people's party. Fuck do you mean the platform is Nick Brana's decision? When they had their inaugural convention, they said the People's Party has no positions, only what we are going to ratify at our next real convention, which never materialized, when no votes were ever cast, when no democratic way of establishing what the party platform was going to be ever happened. They just started kind of announcing shit. They just kind of started going with shit. And it was all bottlenecked from the top, from Nick Brana, anything that he wanted. That's like the opposite of populism. That is the opposite of a people's party. Everything should be democratic. They even fucking advertised it as a party with horizontal leadership. Guess what? That was debunked by Nick Brana's own father. He said anybody that's ever said that was misled. Guess why? Because he knows he wants all the power fucking at the top with him and his kid. It's so fucking obvious. There's so many layers to this story. The sexual harassment allegations are the least of the concern, but the way he responded to them is so telling. He threw a tantrum and he tried to get everybody else removed. That is the opposite of populism. Okay, it is. I didn't think I need to explain that to people. But yeah, it's just, this is the end for the People's Party, guys. I mean, you know, they're going to be a completely irrelevant from now on. I doubt Jimmy sticks his neck out for Nick Brana again after this. If he does, it'll be fucking embarrassing. But yeah, I mean, what else is there to say?
Yeah, it's truly insane. And by the way, if you haven't seen it already and you just want to see an example of like the opposite of what journalism is, check out the interview that Jimmy Dore administered to Nick Brana the other day. It was the most embarrassing softball interview that I have ever seen. And this is coming from someone, Jimmy Dore, who accused us of doing a softball interview when we interviewed Ryan Grimm some months ago about the Build Back Better bill. We were having him on to talk about fucking legislation, and he was like, you didn't do a hardball interview. What are you doing? Meanwhile, he is on a leader of a political organization which is soliciting donations from his own audience with no results to show for it. And he administers the biggest softball interview in the history of journalism. Again, they should show it in journalism school as an example of what not to do